Yes, it's show 2 of our fabulous brand event. If you're not knowing what our brand event is all about, it is a fabulous day of fantastic, inspirational crafters that work so hard in the industry to bring us innovative products, inspiration, and more so, most of them that actually come are family-run companies who just enjoy the love of craft. So thank you so much for taking the time to come and see myself and Sandra. We will talk to Sandra in a second. Let's just do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into some lovely, lovely products. Super giddy about this show. It's so different. I'm like, what's going on here? So it's going to need a little bit of education for myself as well. So if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to click that subscribe button. This gives us a wider reach and it also shares the love of craft across all platforms. There's also that little bell. We'll give you that half an hour notice. So if you do need that little nudge when you sat eating through your chocolate, we do remind you by giving you that nudge. So you can always come and say hello. Myself and Sandra can see all of the lovely comments. We will do some shout outs as well. But I'm just going to dive straight in. I don't want to waste a minute of Sandra's time today because there's so much creativity just on this table, I cannot tell you. So I think if we just say hello to Sandra, if that's okay, because I'm just so giddy to chat to you because I've not seen you for a while since Creating Craft, have I? So how are you?
I'm really good, yeah.
She's got a big smile on her face. It's always a winner.
I love doing
Before I get into any products, Sandra, tell us a little bit about yourself. We've got brand new crafters today.
Goodness
maybe...
me, what am I? I'm an ex-school teacher. I actually started tangling, or I think I've always tangled or done little bits of sort of doodling. Santangle, what is it? It is about doodling. You know when you're on the phone and you're scribbling away and you don't realise? Imagine that, but turned on its head. So you're scribbling away and you're actually focusing on what you're doing, but not listening to what's going around you anymore. That's the whole point of Santangle. And it came to me about, I don't know, 3 years ago.
And do you know what? That's how I remember you.
Yeah.
But she's come today with all of these products, like, well, you can do this with this, and you can. I'm like, my gosh, have you grown? How amazing have you grown? She's like, you know, well, it's just taken its course. People have loved it, and it's just grown legs, and off we've gone.
Absolutely.
So, I'm going to talk about what's on the counter as well. Sandra, let's just talk about where you can find Sandra, because it's really important, because in Sandra's style of craft, it's not just mat and layering and a stamp. It's way more, and it's way more in depth, and it's more mindful, I would probably say.
It is, yeah. It does start there, but of course we want that mindfulness, but we want to actually craft with it as well.
So where can we find you?
Oh,
she's all over.
I'm all over the place at the minute. Yesterday I was on Hobby Maker, so you can find it on YouTube there. I'm here today. I also do Crafters TV, which is going to be, I think it's 21st of the month. You could also find me, I do lives twice a week on Facebook. That's Sandra, I have to remember this, Sandra Rushton Artist. I've actually got a live I'm doing tonight, which is at 7 o'clock. And then I do them on a Tuesday as well. So it's Tuesday, Friday, normally at 2 o'clock. And then, oh my goodness, where else? YouTube, you can find me on YouTube as well. There is over 200 videos of how to do this kind of tangling on there.
So if you invest in any of Sandra's fabulous products today, you have so many ways you can go and get more inspiration, hints, tips, techniques. She's given you it all. So I am going to do a quick run down the counter, and then we're just going to dive straight in and show you exactly what we've got going on, because let me tell you, it's not card making, it's just artwork. It's just incredible. So let's talk about what is on the counter very quickly, like I did with Simon. I don't want to spend too much time on the selling element of it, because it is more about the inspiration with our channel. However, I do have to go through products. We still have to sell products. We are a family-run company, as you all know. If you want to shop the show, it's live on our website right now. Click shop the show, or just go through the products at the bottom. Now, a couple of things to go through. If you have bought from Simon's show and you want to buy from Sandra's and Emma's and Sarah's, that's absolutely fine. Just click no postage on any further orders from that one order. So if you make 10 orders today, just pay postage on the one first item, okay? The girls are not going to dispatch anything today, because I have a funny feeling as you watch the show, there's going to be something throughout the course of all the day that you're going to want to add to your basket. So they're all going to be dispatched from Monday, so just keep adding and adding and adding. As long as that first item hasn't left the building, you're literally good to go. Pay postage once. Let's talk about the first item on the counter. My gosh, these are big. These are big. So these are 4 large stamps, and just delicious in design. I can see lots of open areas in here, which means you can do that lovely sort of technique Sandra's going to talk to you about. But basically, I'll just put them forward so we get rid of the glare. So you have these two down the base here. So we have mandala pieces and florals. I'm just going to turn them over because, yeah, they're stamps, and we put them on white backgrounds so they're presentable for TV. You can see what you're buying. But look at this on the back. So much you can do with them. The inspiration is overflowing from Sandra. She was a teacher, so she knows exactly how to do it for you, how to help you. Let's just turn these ones over as well. So we have flower bunches and books and gifts. Let me turn these ones over for you too. So they're big. I don't think I've seen stamps this big ever in this form as well. So let's just turn them over for you. Look at the inspiration on the back here. And you're probably looking and thinking, I can't do it. I'm telling you, half an hour with Sandra, you can do it. And I'll just show you a few samples on here. So 100470, Santangle stamp bundle times 4. The club price is $43.89. Now, if you are an entrepreneur or a craft room on our website anyway, and you've accrued those points, you're going to get them for less than £40, which is amazing in value. Let me show you some of the fabulous, so every time she held one up, I'm like, I'll have that one. I'll have that one. She was like, are you going to leave any for display? I'm like, no. So look at these delicious, built up, that book there, book and gift stamps built up. It's the biggest card I've ever seen in my life. Look at that. So you can add detail if you want to. You can leave them as a pure stamp and colour them as we do as with my own stamps. What about using them in a pencil sketch form? So delicious. I cannot tell you. And look at that. I adore that card. So building them up, pop the pads behind if you want to. Be creative with them. Look at this one. That is so cool. So, Sandra is going to talk you through it because, as I've said to you, Sandra has grown rapidly over the last... We've been on Create and Craft together. She's been there for a few years now. But as you know, she's grown legs. She's now everywhere in the industry. There's not many places that you can't find Sandra now. So we are going to talk you through the whole process of getting artwork that looks tremendous like that. 100470. That's your 4 large... stamps there from Sandra herself. Moving down the counter. So again, totally different to anything I've ever seen. Okay, so we have on this one, Santangle stencil collection. Now it comes in 2 forms. Sandra's been kind enough to put together a book for you as well. So let me just show you. So here is the butterflies. And you're probably thinking, I have no idea. Like me. Sandra's going to explain it all. Don't you worry about a thing. So you can see you've got all of the components, various sizes, all of the add-on elements. And these are where you're going to pencil through, get the outline, and then add the detail with your pens, your pencils, your coloured pens or whatever. So there's the butterfly. So you get both. It isn't one or the other. It's both. And she has a fabulous sample to show you of this. And then inside, it shows you all of the different ways to get the detail inside the wings, inside the body, how to be creative. Honestly, you look at this, and if you're anything like me, you're going to be a little bit overwhelmed. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but it is a little bit overwhelmed. They look absolutely fabulous. But honestly, so this is why I'm trying to get to Sandra as quick as I can, because it's easy. It is so easy. And Sandra has a huge following now, all called Santanglers who follow her, who do these sorts of things. We even have guests and demonstrators who are on TV who are Santangle followers as well. So that's the butterfly. And then we get the florals, which is this one. Now, you're probably thinking, again, that don't look much like a flower, but when you build it, it completely will come together. So let me just show you this one. There we go. And then I will show you the book. Just on the back. If that's not inspiration in itself, I don't know what is. And then inside, all of the formations where you can chop it up, change it up, add tiles, add the different strokes, add the different levels. Absolutely beautiful. 100471. Today, $24.89 in the club. And again, if you have those extra points and savings, you're going to get them even cheaper. I have a giveaway as well for Sandra's show, as I just did with Simon's show, so you need to stay tuned. There's lots of giveaways today. Vouchers, gifts, product maybe. Moving down the counter then very quickly. Now, this just shows you how far Sandra has come. We now have pens. Pens! Yeah, we all know you have to order thousands of pens to get branding and things like this. So pens. Let's have a look at these ones then. So these are your dual brush pens. Sandra's going to talk you through them again. They are water-based. And again, you can colour those images Oh, look at the delicious colours in there. You have every colour you need there, possibly. You have your core colours and you can mix them if you want to. Blend them together. I mean, so affordable. Again, £12.34 for a full set of pens. Now, if you are investing in Santangle, Sandra, I would say go with what Sandra recommends. It's a pretty inexpensive show, and it's like when I talk about, who else can I refer to? Like Wow. When I talk about Wow, their Wow powders, they recommend their ink. They recommend their super smooth cardstock. Brands do that for a reason, because it works. They know it works. It's a tried and tested formula. So if you are buying the stencils and the stamps, maybe get the pens if you can afford it. But if you have pens and stencils at home, maybe you can incorporate them in your stash as well. 100472. The stamps are flying, by the way. So let's just move on super, super quick. Next ones are these two here. And again, anybody got a clue? Right, I don't know. But thankfully, Sandra's helping me out today. So here we have something that looks like this. Super, super cool. I have no idea. I have no idea. But let me tell you, the pieces of artwork dotted around the studio, and she's like, yeah, that's been made with that stencil. I went, oh, really? So you can see here, and again, on this side of the page here, showing you how to elevate the design just from a hexagon stencil. Sandra is so unique. There is nobody like Sandra. She works so hard. We've been having a conversation today about, you know, it's either go home or keep working. And we've both been saying today, we are going to keep working our butts off to be creative and deliver great products to our lovely friends in the craft business, because that's what we do. We love it. And here is the circle form. 100473. These are £28.50 in the club. Okay, so you get both. You get the booklets that go with as well. And let me just show you some samples. Look at these. I mean, I've never seen anything like them. They're so pretty. And if you are a crafter who maybe cannot be bothered to get everything out, wants to try a different craft, be creative in a different fashion, then there's no better place to, I mean, look at that. That looks three-dimensional. It's completely flat. Free on postage, that one. There we go. 100473. So they are your two hexagon and circle stencils that are going to be able to create the beautiful mandala effects and flowers, all sorts of things going on. So moving down, we have your gel pens. How are you going to decide? How are you going to, if you're like me, you get both, because I love pens. I collect pens. So here we have the gel pens. Now, normally you see Zentangling or Santangling done in black micron pens. Why not do them in colours? So you get a silver in here and a gold, and then you get the multicolours as well. There we go. Look at those lovely, delicious colours. Are these water-based?
I wouldn't water-base them. I always use those over the top afterwards.
So
for
detail.
On your tile, details.
Perfect.
And things. Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, and again, look at the prices. Sandra's been super kind in letting us have them at incredible prices, $11.35 in the club, if you're just buying one item today. And we do have products throughout the show as well, some under £10, some goodie bags, £50, and then stamps at £40. So we've got a whole host of prices and different products. So there we go, 100474. Now the jewel markers and the stamps are super popular already, okay? And as I said in the earlier show, please don't leave product sat in your basket for an hour, because I will remove it, okay? Don't forget, you have an hour. I'll leave it in for an hour. So moving down to the last item on the counter, which is your Santangle Sea Life stencil set. This, I'll just show you a sample first. Look at this. Now, 1 second, just 1 second while we get ready.
Can you wait?
Look at that. Could you draw that? No, absolutely not. How gorgeous is that? Let me show you. Again, I mean, that came from that.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it? When you look at it like that, and you think, how on earth?
Yes, how
you see
on
that
earth?
little curve there?
Yep.
That's the seahorse.
Okay.
That's it.
Let me show you the book. And this is what you're paying for, in my opinion. Yes, it's a stencil. This is what you're paying for. This is very similar to our QR codes, but Sandra puts it in paper form for you. So I'm not showing you too much because I want you to buy it, of course. Let me show you. So it's got all of that step-by-step tuition. But as always, Sandra is live on most platforms. You can catch her on her channel, and it shows you how to put the collections together and build a scene, build a card, build a little tag, build an ATC card if you want to. 100473, 1519 in the club. So that's the full counter. I'm going to leave Sandra over there because she's going to crack straight on, and I'll let her just explain how it goes, because I'm not going to interfere, because it's really important you understand what the show is about and how it all works. So I'll hand over to you, sweetheart.
There's no pressure then.
No,
is there?
I'm going.
Okay.
I'm
I thought I'd start from the stamps, because that's going to give you a little bit of a starting point. If you've never done it before and you think, ooh, where am I going? The stamps are great because it gives you that point, so you've got something on the paper and then you can add to it. So I've had to think about this because there's so many stamps, and I'm going to use the mandala ones. And if you see here, you've got a quarter of the section, because of course you can do a card with just the one, but I'm going to show you how to sort of extend it a little bit. And again, you've got two designs here. One's a little bit more built up than the other. I'm going to use this one here. This has been hand-drawn with those fine liner pens. So once you actually decide you're going to add some extra little bits and pieces onto it, it's going to look like you drew it all because it's the same pen. So here we go. I've got an 8 by 8 inch piece of sort of heavyweight cartridge paper here, because I want to do a bit of watercolouring on it. And I'm just going to put my stamp just in that corner there. Go. And I'm just going to make sure it's stuck on there. Go. You always have to check, don't you? Because sometimes if you've not washed your stamp properly.
Yes, you get them up.
Yeah.
Sandra, we've got some lovely comments coming through. So
Brilliant.
Your style would be brilliant for holidays, so you don't have to take stacks of items.
Absolutely.
Gorgeous. Wow. Love that. Fab. Wow. Amazing. Absolutely stunning.
Oh. Do you know what? It's really nice though, because it is nice to see them, all these samples, but they're achievable. You can do this. It's not about how good those samples look. You are actually going to be able to do this as well. So don't look at it and think, I can't do it, it's not me. And also you're going to get that, as we talked about earlier, that mindfulness sort of approach in there as well. So you're going to have the relaxation and the chill out time for yourself. And then, of course, you're going to have the wonderful, experience of giving it as a gift. Although, honestly, how many people want to give these away when you've done them?
I just want to say the time invested.
I know.
It's got to be to somebody who's going to appreciate it, I guess.
And do you know what? Each time you do it, even if you use one of the stamps, when you put your own work on there, it's going to be completely different. So every single one that you do is unique to you in the whole world. So it's nice, certainly if you're selling products as well, you find is adding something that little bit different, making a piece of artwork, because of course, once you've done this, you can sell it as a piece of your own artwork. So you're going to be adding extra bits and pieces to it. So there we go.
It just looks different already.
Just look
can't
at that,
believe
yeah.
it.
Missed a little bit.
I can't believe that.
Look at that. I mean, I haven't really had to go back in much and do anything with that. It's down to, the products and the quality of everything that we're using here. So I'm just going to move that one out of the way. And now there's a couple of things we can do with this. Of course, we can come in with a pen. Now, I'm going to use a regular fine liner here. This is an archival one. This is what we tend to tangle with. And we can choose elements of this. So it might be that I actually want to put a bubble in there and maybe come around the bubble to create these wonderful little lines. So already you're being the artist. You've got something to start you off with. You're creating something completely different. You see, I'm just following those lines, working my way along. So I'm not doing anything seriously artistic. I'm not doing anything that is tricky. You can hold a pen, you can do this. I do think, Tony, actually, my youngest tangler has just turned 6.
Wow.
So he actually takes part in our little tile swaps that we do every month. I'm not sure my oldest. I don't think they've divulged their age. But it's just lovely
How
to do.
different does that look already? Just some lines in it?
Yeah. We could do the same in, these ones as well. Looking at this section here, what if I decided I want to maybe add a little line, some little bubbles. Now, if I just do this one in black, so you can see how this sort of works. There we go. And again, I'm not doing anything sort of crazy. It's the case that I've just added a touch. But what if I then bring my fine liners in? Let's go with the red. And nice fine line there. So I can come in and I can start to add in my colours.
Oh, Sandra, just a quick one. So that one is your fine liner.
Yes.
With your dual brush, with the
It
brush
is.
on the end. So so what's the difference between the gel, sweetheart, just for customers
the
at
dual
home?
brush I'm going to show you in a minute is water-based, so you're going to be filling in with it, you're going to be using it as a fine liner, of course watercolouring if you want to. Your metallics, which I'll use in a little bit, are going to give you our extra little bit of detail later on, so it's a little bit of sparkle. You've got some metallics and then some matte colours, and they're quite nice. These are a little bit thinner as well, these fine liners, so you'll be able to tangle with them.
Right, okay.
Again, you see, look, filling in there, it's going to give me that nice coverage very quickly, because we want to be getting on with our tangling as much as we want to colour. But in the traditional sense of watercolour too, if I just add a little bit on here, maybe bring a little bit of gentler, see, that's why we use the sort of thicker part there, and maybe. So I know I've got all my little paint pots around there, but I keep them clean. I do use them, honestly. Oh, brush. It would help if I got a brush. 1 second.
So which do you prefer then, Sandra? Do you prefer to watercolour with a brush or straight with a pen?
I like to use the pens to draw with, and then the watercolour with the brushes. I'm very, very traditionalist when it comes to watercolour in that sense. Having said that, though, if you've ever done a full tangle, maybe in a design that you think, do you know what, it's a little bit too precise, spritz it a little, and this pen will move, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, very artistic.
Absolutely. But if I bring a little bit of water in, I tend to come in with clean water first, so you've got a little bit of a sort of a sheen on. This is why I like to use that sort of cartridge paper. Watercolour's a little bit too sort of pitted for using the fine liners on. You want a nice smooth surface.
Yeah.
But then, see, I'm just drying my paintbrush off. If I bring a bit of that in now, I'm just going to touch it in. And this is the thing I like to sort of do with watercolour is don't try and paint the whole thing. Just sort of leave some of it without any ink in at all. And because you've got that water in there, what's going to happen is it's going to move along the page.
And it'll only go where you've put water, won't it?
Exactly. So it's sort of running along that channel. See, I've not put water here and it's stopped.
Yeah.
So if we come in and just add a little bit there. Go. And then a little bit more. See, I dry my brush every time I go into that paint, because I'm actually using that brush pen as paint now.
I've got a funny feeling people could watch you for hours.
Do you know the nice thing as well? I've got some just regular table salt here. You actually come in and add, might have dried a little bit, so a little bit of table salt on it. What you're going to find is you get this lovely sort of, here you go, pitted effect.
Oh, yeah.
That you can actually then tangle over the top of. So once that's dry, which it's not going to take long, a little bit of it there is, you could come back over if you want to, maybe with the same pen, maybe with a different coloured one, and you can add more of these little designs over the top. So you can just keep adding, and that's the beauty of having this particular type of pen. See, that's a little bit wet now, so I won't do that. You're getting a little wonderful...
So I just said we could watch you for hours, and Lindsay Bruton's put, Tony, we do.
Absolutely.
And another one as well, what is a question, tile swap?
Tile swaps, okay.
Educators.
This is a tile.
Okay.
And you can see on the back, we've got the Santangle, and you've got your name, you've got the date, and you've got a hashtag little there. That's where you actually put the number on. And once a month, every third Monday of the month, I think 2 o'clock, I actually do a video and I give you a pattern or a tangle, little set of instructions, and I show you what you can do with it. And then off you go and you create your little tile. As long as you've got that pattern on that I've used, then that's what you sort of put on your tile. But you can do whatever you like. You send it in with a self-addressed envelope, and I put them all together and create a huge mosaic of all the different tiles that we get together. And then I swap them and send them back out. It's like having Happy Post. So you don't get a bill on that particular day. You
Thank goodness, because I'm sick of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the kind of thing. So yeah, here's my gel pens. You can see a different nib there. Let me show you the difference between the two. There we go. So one's very definitely thicker than the other. You can see there. You've got a very, very fine line. And then you've got a nice sort of ball pen almost. So if I just put my lid back on that, and then if I come back in, so say I could still tangle with this if I wanted to. You see, it's just a little bit thicker. Go. But what's nice about it is once you've done your tangling, even if you've gone in with a different kind of pen or a different ink, this will actually sit on the top of whatever you've drawn. So if I...
These stamps are super popular, ladies and gents. 100470.
Okay, so I'll just put another one of those in. There we go. If I put some little bubbles in there, let's just fill one in. So say we've filled that with black ink. There we go. All right. Let's come in with, let's use the silver. You can see that will actually sit over the top of that black. So you're getting a little bit more of a layer, whereas of course your brush markers won't do that. So you've got the option.
Created like a bit of a halo there.
It has, yeah. So there's lots of different ways of using them all, and they all work really well together. You'll find as well that the colours will match. They match the tiles, they match each other. So this is where we sort of work with this. We could also, in a very traditional way of actually adding a little bit of shadow, if you thought colour's not for me, I want to stick with the monochrome, you can use your pencil. If I add a little bit of pencil around there, a little bit over the top and along here, you see I've added just little bits in areas. I've not coloured in, so you don't need to be a colourist or anything like this. And then we use one of these little paper stub called a tortillon. Posh name, tortillon. Okay. And all I'm going to do is soften it.
Have you got anything on that?
Nothing at all. I'm just softening that pencil that I've just put onto the piece of paper there. And you see how it's moving? You're starting to create that sort of three-dimensional element there. So this is giving you lots of different ways in which you can do this. You can even go over the top of your pen. There we go. That's a bit drier now. You can even do this over the top of your brush pens. And again, soften it out. See, it's a little bit wet still, but you see how you can build layers and you can get lots of different things going on there. But of course, once you've watercoloured or you've coloured in all of this, I'll bring the final one in. Because there's so many more things I want to show you. I'm going to bring you the final one. This one I have watercoloured the same way as this. A little bit of ink around the outside. There we go.
And breathe.
So you can see what I've just done. I've not added much in terms of the tangles to this, but I've added extra little bits in the middle. I've done that little section on each of those droplets. Added some little lines in. And then, of course, if you have a look at the leaves, I've watercoloured the leaves, but then I've actually used the green fine liner pen and I've tangled up, put some little sort of swirly spirals over the top just to give it that extra little bit of dimension. So from one stamp, and you've got 8 to choose from in there, one stamp, you can create something like that for your home or to just get it on an 8x8 card. So
the possibilities are
massive.
endless. Now, if you wanted to do an A3 in a frame, you could absolutely do that. You just do a corner. So if you're just starting out, you're brand new to Sandra today, or you've seen Sandra and today is the day you're thinking, yes, I'm going to do that. Do a corner, play with the corner. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? It's a stamp and a piece of paper. It's just, and you'll do a different design. No two pieces of artwork are ever going to be the same as soon as you start adding the detail yourself. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm stood here feeling so relaxed just watching Sandra just put some lines into some artwork. Everybody else is... And I always know when people are engrossed in a sort of demo because the chat stops. I feel like it's frozen,
Please
Sandra,
speak to us.
That's what happened just right there. So that's just fantastic. So let me just tell you about some of the popular items in the show while Sandra just resets the gauge to show you some of the other lovely items that are in the show. Now, you're all absolutely loving the stamps and you're all loving the pens. I'll leave you be on those completely. Sandra is looking like she's going to touch on these hexagon and circle stencils as well, because when you look at them, they don't look like anything. But my gosh, are they mighty. You're going to be able to create so many different things with them. So you get your hexagon frames and your circle frames. Okay, club price £28.50. Now you are going to be absolutely blown away when you see, I mean, that it looks like a print. But it's not a print, it's just not followed the whole circle round, just done like a fan on there. And you've just seen a drag, I just saw her drag that pencil pencil out there and I'm like, hang on a minute, what's on the end of that brush? How did that happen? It's like, if I tried that, it just wouldn't work. That's how I felt. So I know how you're feeling at home. So we need to get involved with Sandra's sort of design. Just mesmerising, absolutely mesmerising. Right, let's leave it be. Let's go back to Sandra.
Okay, what I'm going to do for you now, I'm going to show you, because things work better when they work together. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to use one of the frames and two of the stencils in the show today, put them all together and create a lovely piece of artwork. Of course, you can start really small and make cards with these, but let's just go a little bit bigger. I'm going to talk you through it. So here we go. I've got my circle frame here. It doesn't look like much. And yes, in the instructions, always give you instructions for how to do a couple of things. So you could do either or using these here. See, from the very, very first little line with putting dots to working it through, adding those lovely little patterns or tangles in to create those designs. But as you've seen Tony show, you can actually fill the whole thing in. So you get like a mandala kind of design. So here we go. Looking at this then, we've got lots of rings, lots of dots. You could draw a frame in here that was 2 inches square, if you 2 inches round if you wanted to, or you can go up to an 8 by 8, which is why you've got all the dots in there. So what I've actually done with this, I've come in with a pencil, and you don't have to draw around the edge, but I have. But you can drawn around the inside line here. I've drawn into this line here, this line here. So I've only got 3 to give me the frame. And then I've marked all the dots around the outer edge. I only need 1 set of dots. We don't need to mark them all. So I've just gone on the largest. And this is what you've got. Doesn't look like much at the minute. You see where those dots are?
I'm so giddy to see this.
You can bring a ruler in and you can join them together, or you can do it by eye. And what I'm going to do is split up. See, I've split it in half. And then this line I'm going to mark down here. You see, I'm just joining those dots, whether you want to do it, as I say, by eye, or whether you want to bring a straight edge in to actually mark it out. And this is how we'd start to work. I'm all about splitting up the space that we've got and making them more manageable little chunks that we can work with. So obviously when I did the fan design, I only used a section of the circle, but today we're going to use the whole lot, but we're going to add a few things to it. So even if you've got a stamp or a die that you love, or maybe a sentiment, and you're wondering what to do with it, you could do one of these frames and actually draw by hand your own frame design around it. Who would love that? It'd be fantastic. So there we go. We've got our main sort of frame. So then I'm going to bring in the butterflies. Now, when you look at this, you can sort of see the butterfly shapes. My first thought is have a look through the booklet. It gives you instructions for how to do these 2 designs. But there's so many other things you can do with it. See, going from drawing the original one all the way through. So I'm going to put that to one side because you've got the instructions there. You don't need to see me draw those again. I'm going to come in with, let's have a look. I've got some small butterflies here. So I'm going to use those. I'm going to come straight in with a pen, which is always a little bit scary, I know, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to put a butterfly up here. Let's start with this body shape. Now, the beauty of this is I'm not giving you just a single butterfly to work with. I could use this body, and then I could perhaps turn it round, and I could use, I quite like that one. I could use this top wing here. Let's put that one in. So you're creating your very own butterfly. You're not following what I've done. Now, in order to get this the same on the other side, I can mark the stencil. You see, I'm just going to mark the body in that I've drawn there. So when I actually turn it over, I can line it up again. Go. And then draw in the other side of the wing. See, you get a nice symmetry going on. And then all you have to do, just rub it off with your finger. It's coming off. See, no problem at all there. So let's go back. I'm going to use this bottom wing here.
Lenny says she doesn't know where she's been, Sandra, because she's never seen this before.
It does look...
To be honest with you though, Sandra, I think, I might be wrong here, but I think you're the only one in the UK that does this incredibly well.
Well, thank you for that. I don't think anybody else does it quite like me in a sense.
The tools that you provide to give people the confidence to put in detail and make larger pieces of artwork.
I mean, that's the thing,
through
isn't it?
mindfulness is just so impressive. I'm so impressed.
I mean, look, you've got a butterfly. You've got your own butterfly there. It's absolutely fine. But what we can do with this, let's take that same tangle that we used earlier and put a bubble in the middle there. Let's do the same in that one because butterflies do tend to have symmetry in a sense. So again, I'm going to come around the bubble and bring it down. So I'm going to do the same that way. I'll do both as I'm going. And this one, and take it up. And this one, and take it up. And then around and around. So I'm following that bubble each time. Got those little lines going. And then as before, I come on in and I can bring in those little lines. And again, you're not going to be tangling as quick as I am. I've got a time constraint here, but you can take your time and just enjoy this. I would be more inclined to perhaps draw the whole thing first and then come in and tangle afterwards, but you'll see where it heads. I've got one that's in progress a little bit further on. Now, if I wanted to, I could just leave it with those two sections filled with lines and leave the other two. I want to.
Isn't it strange how when you put lines in, it looks different?
Completely, isn't it?
It looked quite flat. You put a few lines in and now it looks like it's twirling and whirling
all over
image.
the place. Bubbles are a big thing. We don't call them circles because that would mean we'd have to do them perfectly. Notice how I started in the middle and then worked my way either side. It's nice to do that because I think you get a really nice balance that way. And then, you know, sometimes when you're trying to start in a corner and you're not quite sure what size to draw them, you can work it that way. And of course, I could come in and fill those little gaps. Or again, you could use the brush pens and you get a different colour. We're going to use them in a minute for something else as well. But let's just quickly do that side as well. And again, you know, you don't have to use a thin nibbed either. You could use something a bit thicker. There we go. So you see you've got my first butterfly in. I can now decide to do 2 or 3 more there, but around this edge, I want to come in and bring in the flowers. So again, flowers, instructions-wise, you've got instructions for doing 4 different designs in here. So you saw the 2 on the front, and then if I show you the 2 on the back as well. So all these are in there for how to do it. Of course, you're going to want to go and do your own thing. But looking at these little tangles, we're going to add them in a short while. So let's have a look. Now, this is how your stencil comes. This is what I suggest you do with your stencil. Use maybe a Sharpie and actually put the numbers on. Now, when I say put the numbers on, I always laugh about this because it's great to sort of put any numbers. Please put the numbers on that I've shown you in the instructions. I know I laugh a bit about that. Somebody didn't once and then like the instructions don't work, Sandra. I'm like, because you've numbered it wrong. So just make sure you put your numbers on, okay? So here we go. You can see this one's well loved. I do use it a lot because I've got ink all over the place. But let's have a look then. I'm going to start with this large circle here. And you'll notice as well, what am I drawing with? You don't have to. You can come straight in and you can use a pencil if you like. But I'm just going to go ahead and use pen. So I've got different sort of petal shapes here. Now, these 2 work really nicely together. Of course, this one. Because when you're looking at creating a flower, not every petal shape is the same. So what I've done here is I've given you a selection of different shapes. So let's work our way around and see where this takes us. This, again, something really nice to see because you're not restricted with a certain size or shape, and it's whatever you want to make of it. Because you've got the different sort of petals, you've even got smaller ones here if you want to use them. You're actually creating your own flower. So now, once you've done this, it's your own artwork. So I've just provided, it's like having a ruler to draw a straight line, isn't it? You can't say that the copyright lies with whoever's done the ruler. It's all down to what you want to do. Again, using pen, I think it's so liberating. Just going for it. Let's put one here. Because we're not worrying about that end result. We're just enjoying making this sort of wonderful little design here. Look how that's turning out. So let's put another one here. Oh, that line in. You see I'm mixing and matching between those sort of petal shapes. It's going to give me something different just to get me going with that there. I'm not trying to balance them out in any way. I'm just going for it. Let's put this one in. I think that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You don't have to worry about it.
And flowers are not perfect.
No, they're not. And every single one's going to be different. And you drew this. Now you're going to look at this and think, wow, look what I've just done. Just going to take that grid out of that shape there, just so you can see it. This is why we tend to do the grids in in pencil because, of course, it's there as a purpose. It's there for us to hang these flowers and these butterflies on. So let's do another. Got a shape here. Again, these are in the instructions, so don't think I'm going to leave you alone with it. They're not. You can see how this flower's done. Shape there. So I'm going to bring in this one here, my number 23. I do use this one a lot. I do like it. Put one in there. And
So we have Susan says we are a family. We are a lovely family full of inspiration and beautiful people.
oh, Santangling is, and it creates such a. We've got a wonderful little community, and everybody helps each other. It's just lovely. There you go. Your first flower.
Wow.
Let's do another. See, you can get carried away and lost in this. Imagine doing this as fabric, as an applique. Actually, do have a flower similar to this, actually, that's been stitched. I can show you in a short while.
So the items that Sandra is using are core items you're going to need, i.e. the circular frame to create those lines and dots. Those are elements that are going to elevate your design and aid you in getting that perfect symmetry on your artwork as well. So you can see she's balanced with a butterfly, then a flower at the bottom, you know, so it's going to, these are sort of items you need in your stash to create those beautiful pieces of art. But when you've got them, you've absolutely got them. And then all you need to do is wait for Sandra to bring out those extra elements where you can build maybe, I'm not sure if she's got birds, but birds and flowers and butterflies. It's just absolutely endless, the things that you're going to be able to achieve. So we have a lot of core items on the table here showing you how to get started. If you're brand new, you've obviously got a great starting point, but equally, if you are advanced Santangler, don't forget that you can get all of the inspiration. You can rewind this show as well, mute, pause me at any point, go back, follow step by step. Sandra's live on most platforms herself as well. The tuition is there for you. So you can buy with confidence knowing that the help is there, and there are lots of fabulous Santanglers, very, very advanced. So you're just going to grow as a crafter.
Absolutely. You see, I've started with my flowers. You can continue it up the frame because you've got something to sit it on now. But I want to focus a little bit on the frame as well. And I've come in now, I've got my grey fine liner. It's great actually to work with black and grey at the same time. And I'm going to start, it doesn't matter where, I'm going to start in each of these little sections. I'm going to create this sort of little curved line. You see, what I'm actually doing is I'm using sort of about the middle of the section and bringing it to the point at the end there. And then again. And what I would be inclined to do is to draw that particular shape all the way around. And of course, we do this once we've put our flowers in and everything else that we want to do. And there we go. Continue with that little curve. If you find it easy to go corner to point, that's fine. Again, I would honestly, 100% recommend you go straight in with pen with this, because by the time you've actually created it with pencil, if you think you've got to go back over in pen, it's going to take you more hours. We want to enjoy it. We want to take our time, but you know, there's only so many hours in a day. I do know some tanglers actually tangle in the early hours of the morning. So there you go. You see, I've got this first shape coming all the way around. I'd continue it, you see, just along here as well.
The flower and butterfly stencils, 100471 there, what Sandra's just used to create that lovely flower and butterfly on there. You could just do a whole hoop of flowers.
You could, absolutely.
And because you've got the aid of the hoop as well, it's going to look symmetrical.
Yeah. And that's another thing as well, because we wonder what to do with it, we wonder how to put them together. So creating those little frames around. And you can see now I'm coming in with that second, sort of that inner ring, and I'm creating little curves again, but they're just slightly offset. So we're starting to create a little bit of a, you know, a bit of a design going on in there. See, this time I'm actually coming in and doing each one. Whichever way works for you, there's no rules, and you don't have to use this same design. There are so many different designs you can actually use. So I just bring those in.
Masterpiece before your very own eyes.
Well, it is, isn't it? And you think, oh, it's just a few lines. I think the actual finished sample, I've put a little curvature in there as well. That's why I've used that end.
Oh, nobody's getting their housework done, Sandra. You're causing problems.
I know. Do you know, it actually, My husband does say that our house looks like we're squatting. So we haven't cleaned up in a little while. We've been busy.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
There we go. So you can see how it starts to build. I just bring my rubber in there, and I'm just going to rub out some of those lines now. Let's have a look at this. Go. And of course, you don't have to do big pieces with this. You can use just the small little tiles and things like that as well. You see you've got this lovely design now going around.
Nobody'd ever know you had that stencil.
Well, this is the thing, see, you're just going to do your own little thing with it, and nobody's going to know. It's going to, well, it's hand-drawn, isn't it? You've just used a little bit of a structure to help you get going. Yeah, I've repeated that little shape, but here we've got these little points. And then let's come back in with that bubble again. And of course, you can use whichever pattern or tangle you like. You can fill these in any which way. There must be thousands of different ways you can use them. See there, working in these little shapes. So I've done nothing that's different from when we did our first little stamp design. I've put that in there. See how that starts to work? You don't want to put the lines in. Maybe you want to just come in with a pencil. What if we add a little bit either side? And of course, the beauty of pencil, if you think, oh, it's not quite right, it's not what I wanted, you can rub it out. Do a little and so you can see how this is going to work. Here's that little paper stub again. It's tightly rolled up paper, and we're just going to put very little pressure and soften out pencil. So if you want a nice subtle background, you can then bring that in. Just work it along. You know what works nice as well? When you've done this, if you put a little bit of a spray varnish over the top of it, and then I always sprinkle a little bit of glitter over it. Just gives it a bit of touch. Of course, the metallic pens can come back in. And we can fill in those little centres there. It's going to give it a little bit of a sparkle. But I'm going to bring in now, actually, before I do that, I'm going to just bring in some fine liners. Of course, we could watercolour these. It'd be absolutely fine. But let me show you a different way of using your fine liners to create sort of colour. So if I come in and I'm going to add some little sort of dots and dashes, working my way up. You see what I'm doing? I'm splitting off my space.
Sorry, Sandra, just got a couple of questions. So we have question from Roseanne. Is there a book of suggested or sample of tangles? Would you probably just say go to social media on that?
You can go to social media, or I actually did one on Hobby Maker yesterday, so there's a brand new product out there. But of course, there's books as well you can have a look at, and there are so many different designs.
So where can we get the books? On your website?
Books can go, my website, if you have a look for...
So there you are, Roseanne, you can check out
Sandra Rushton there, you'll find lots of different ones.
We've also got another question that says, question, what paper are you using? Is it the copier paper again?
This is a really nice quality cartridge paper, so it's smooth, but it's got a little bit of tooth to it. You just sort of hear the scratching there. It's going to allow me to sort of draw on it so it's nice and flat, but if I want to watercolour, it's going to hold that water as well. So the best you can afford, I would say.
Kimberly's saying she just ordered the hexagons, the circles, the frames, the flowers. Can't wait.
So many things you can do with it. It's, crazy. You see, I'm just actually flicking now. I've put those lines in, and now I'm flicking some lines up. So again, I'm not colouring as such. I'm adding in little hints just to get it going, and maybe a little bit at the top as well. So don't think of fine liner as just to draw lines. You can still add colour with it. You can still tangle, and you can still get some blending going on. It's not going to blend like alcohol markers, although if I did put a bit of water on there, you'd get a bit of a blend. But we want a little bit of texture in it as well. I'm just going to bring one in now that I've moved it along a bit. I'll just look, put the right colour lid, Sandra, on the right colour pen. That would be interesting, couldn't it? Here we go. So here's my sketch pad. And you can see what I've actually done. I've got a couple of butterflies going on here. I've got my big flower that's been tangled and sort of coloured. And a couple of these little ones that you saw me. I've added a little bit of a ribbon in as well. And it's just nice to have a few little bits. But let's just bring the instructions in for a minute. And you can see here I've got all these lovely sort of little tangles, these little flowers that I want to add in. So I'm going to bring in, So I've got all the pens out now, all the colours. Let's bring the magenta out. So let's have a look. We've got sort of a little flower here. So I'm going to bring in, let's put one here. It starts with like a little loop with a straight line on there. I'm going to fill that in. And then it's got two little lines that join it to wherever you're going to join it. And then it shows, you've got like sort of like a little heart kind of shape, bit of a loop with a little bobble on the top there. And it says draw one either side. There we go. And then you could do another one either side. You could leave it as 3 if you wanted to. There we go. I think I'm just going to put a couple of little flicks in there. There's your flower. Let's put another one in. And this is where it gets interesting as well, because you've used the stencil, you've started to create these wonderful little designs, but you're now going off piece almost and doing your own thing with it. So let's just bring another one in here. So I've started with some little leaves as well. And this is where it's nice to bring those fine liners in, because you can add that bit of colour without colouring in. So I've done all one side.
If you haven't got any fine liners or pens, these are the ones that Sandra uses, recommends for her and her team and her followers. Super inexpensive. She's not charging the earth for you to get started with this sort of craft. It's super affordable. So the pens that she's using there, 100472, if you'd like to add those to your basket, 1234, double-ended, watercolour. So you'll be able to use them with all of your other crafty products if you haven't got watercolour pens in your stash as well. And then we have the gel pens as well, which are the metallics and some matte finish ones in there, 100474, and those ones are 1135. You know, when I say to you, brands create products that work with their other products for a reason, and she's not charging £100 for a set of pens. They're just over £10. So if you are investing in Sandra today, maybe just get one stencil and a set of pens, see how you get on, grow from there. If you've got any problems, you can always speak to Sandra. Catch her on social media pages as well. You know, just simply have fun with it. That is what it's all about. You haven't got to have. Do you know what I like about it? Although I'm a crafter and a card maker, I don't need a die cutting machine.
Nope, don't need
I don't need my glue, my tape.
No.
So as an alternative craft, because we all, as crafters, we like to do everything, don't we? But some crafts fit with where we are at the time.
Exactly.
Like if you're in the caravan, are you going to take a die cutting machine? What are you going to do? Are you in the car? Could you do this in the car? I think, of course, you could, as long as you've not got somebody driving 100 miles an hour. But you could absolutely, if you're waiting in a cafe, you could just get your book out and get your fine liner pen out. There's just so many. How many times have we sat waiting thinking, gosh, I could have spent a couple of hours watercolouring here, but I didn't have any water.
It's a talking point as well. Somebody's going to come over and say to you, what are you doing? And, you know, it's one of those icebreakers, because people, what are you doing? You go, actually, I'm tangling. And like, what is that?
What is
Before
that?
you know it, you've got another cup of coffee in front of you, and you had this conversation with somebody you've never met. And it's just a wonderful little thing to do. But I do have one. Can I just show you the fabric on this?
Do you want to, in fact, we're pressing for time now. Do you want to show some of your lovely samples? She's got so many samples. Let's talk through some of the samples and just
let's do that, yeah. I mean, this one you can see here, we've used the sort of the smaller petal designs, but it's been appliqued on. Our Leslie's done this. And you can see where she's taken elements, but then drawn over the top of it. So that's actually, even in the middle, little beads. So if you're a stitcher, if you're into fabrics, then there's nothing saying you can't use this on there. It's just lovely, isn't it? And then this one, let me show you this one. This is a slightly large piece. It's going to take you, this is probably going to take you a weekend, I would say, to do. If I just show it that way.
I didn't see that one.
So you see these flowers? No, I had this one.
Yeah.
So you see here, you've got the flowers. Now, look at the bottom there. You've seen how I've done those flowers this morning. This is exactly the same petal, but I've done an open version rather than part. And of course, you can use your hexagon to do this kind of design as well. And I've actually used coloured pencils for all of that. But look at the detail in there. And really, when you think it's a little doodle with a pen and a bit of
That's just incredible. I cannot
How
tell you.
beautiful is that?
What else? Show me something else. I'm feeling empowered right now.
You could go smaller. What if you've got something, maybe a 5x5 card? What you could do, you could create the same petals that you've just seen as on the stitched sample there. Make sort of a little daisy shape, and then of course you can put your stamped sentiments and things in the middle there to sort of get you going with. Sure, there's a few more in here. I've pinched Leslie's work, see? There you go. So she's done a smaller shape there, smaller frame, and then she's used the instructions to create this design, which if I actually bring your instructions back in, there it is, look, on the front cover. There you are. Oh, we got there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Leslie is very good. Well done, Leslie.
Yeah, she's well trained as my elf. We do call her Leslie Elf.
Okay.
So again, there's the flower. But again, you can use just smaller elements of it. This one, really, really easy to do. It starts as an oval. And again, there's that lovely blossom. Again, oh, she's used there. A little bit of metallics in there, but she's a bit of colour. Worked it in. How lovely is that? They're just divine, aren't they?
They are absolutely amazing. I want you to show the hexagon, and I would like you to show that big butterfly, which is on that blue pad.
Yeah, you must see this. So I've literally took over the whole counter.
It's okay, it's okay. We're having fun.
This is the original. This is the one that I drew, and you've got the instructions for this in your step. So if you wanted to do the larger, the smaller, and the baby ones, and that's fine. The only thing I've done around the outside, I've added some ink, I've used some blue and some black. But then see here, I've actually used my stencil as a traditional stencil, and I've added a little bit of the wings.
Oh yeah, just ink through the stencil.
Just ink through the stencil. Yeah. Oh. And of course, if you wanted to, certainly with things like the hexagons, and put them through, you can emboss them.
Let's do some shout outs because wow, this is awesome. Love the shadow on that. This is amazing. Wow, these are amazing. These are so lovely. Wow, that is beautiful, Sandra. Love it. I think you've got some new fans today.
Oh, I think so. Do you know what? I'm so pleased that if you're going to give it a go, don't sit there and think, I'm not sure. Give it a go. Even if you go and look at one of the tiles and follow a Facebook video first, you're going to want to come back and try it. It's just so therapeutic.
I can.
And look what you can produce. I know I've produced that. I know that. But of course, using your stencils, you're going to be able to recreate that as well.
Perfect. I'm so pleased that everybody who has invested in Sandra today, she's a force to be reckoned with. I'm absolutely certain of it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, check out your baskets. Now, I have the question. So I do have other things to tell you for the rest of today, but I have a question, okay? And the question is, what you need to do, don't forget, same as Simon's show, you need to pop the answer underneath Sandra's live video. So I asked a question on Simon's show, you need to pop it underneath. I'll pick a winner for a £20 Stamps by Me voucher. I'm going to ask you a question right now, and you need to pop the answer under Sandra's video, not under Simon's, under Sandra's video. And the question is, on the large circle that Sandra just did on her piece of cardstock, how many petals did the large flower have at the bottom? How many petals did she pen in? Pop the answer underneath this video, and over the course of the 13 hours we're live this weekend, I will announce a winner for a £20 voucher. So go back to Simon's show, answer that question, answer the question here on Sandra's. I have one in Emma's and I have one in Sarah's as well. So many reasons to tune in, so many reasons to come and be inspired with Stamps by Me today. We're having a fabulous day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to check out your baskets, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, thanks
She's
for having
definitely
me.
coming. She is definitely coming back. So up next is Emma for Thirsty Brush, Sarah from Funky Fossil, and then you'll see me tonight live. Oh, she's live as well. So we'll see you both there. See you later. Bye.
Bye.